Hello and welcome to this coursework intervention, which is going to be talking about how you use codes within your work. When I say codes, I'm talking about the way you embed connotations into your theatrical posters, to your DVD covers, or indeed your website. So today really is about checking the quality of your work, thinking about how clever your ideas have been and whether they're good enough to actually go to quite a high level at A level in your coursework. Let's recap then by looking at the second slide here, by looking at the IT poster. You can see it's got its original title, its original tagline, its image, its elements of character suggesting enigma or mystery, and its release date, company logo, etc. You can see there then this image is embedded with lots of different meanings. Through the font it uses, its background design, its use of character, and the use of symbolism and layout within this image. All of these have been carefully constructed to get a particular effect from the audience and fit in with the target demographic the film is marketed in. None of the features on this poster or this theatrical poster are by accident. They're all there by design, and our job as media studies students is to unpick why it's been designed the way it has and what impact it has on its intended demographic. Let's take a look then and recap the semiotic codes to use in your design. You've got your hermeneutic codes, which is anything mysterious, which serves to build suspense. The poetic codes, which are action codes, which suggest something will happen in the future. Your symbolic codes, where images represent something more than the object itself. Semantic codes, which is a way of encoding thinking or meaning to any object or design you choose. And cultural codes, which is where you link your object or your set or your design to the culture, ethnicity, gender or time period your film or TV series comes from. So for example, a cultural code might be a link to a cafe, let's see it say in the background. That might indicate a British cafe, or indeed it might be a more Parisian cafe, depending on the country in which your production is actually based. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different codes then to look to embed into your work. At least 3 of them should appear with minimum effort from the exam board to find them. After all, they're going to study your DVD cover, your theatrical poster, and look for how clever you've been in the images and the symbolism that you've chosen to use. They're in effect then looking for you to use these codes so they're able to evaluate the detail you've gone into and the thought that's gone into your design for your predicted production. The brief that Black Panther would need to follow is as follows then, using the poster on the left. It's for 12 to 30-year-olds, a specialised audience who like the superhero genre. And we know it also needs to be suited to the Marvel brand. It has to be family orientated, it has to be accessible to all, but equally linked to the comic books on which it is based. This then might be how this poster is written up, looking for the coding it actually uses. As part of the Marvel brand identity, Black Panther needs to appeal to a family demographic, yet appeal to fans of a sometimes violent comic book. The blue and gold semantic code imply a sense of grandeur and royalty, which not only link to the main protagonist of the film, but also suggests strength and ancient cultural context. The shadow effect of the font connotes a sense that all is not as it appears as the blue fades to black. The main image uses poetic codes to imply the action of the film, and the use of technology within the image juxtaposes the more cultural codes of spears and armour that are also present. You can see there I've looked at key details of the poster and I'm able to think about why that particular way of presenting this design was done. I look at the colours, the shapes, the pictures, the layout and come to conclusions as to why the designer might have laid it out the way they did that link to my knowledge of the film itself. Let's look at example 2 then, the theatrical poster for the film It. 15 to 30 specialised audience once again, the horror genre and lovers of horror, but it also needs to be suited to Stephen King's source material. It needs to link back to the original book and indeed the original version of the film from 1991. You can see it's got a very distinctive layout there, and many features that have become sort of linked to the film series It itself, such as the red colour, the balloon, and the clown. As I look to how to write this up, then this is how my write-up might look, as I look for the details the designers used and speculate as to why those details have been chosen. As part of the ongoing horror anthology by Stephen King, It positions itself as a new take on a well-known horror film. The tagline, It's Back, takes a nod to the 1991 classic horror film, whilst the designer uses her hermeneutic code with the clown behind the balloon to build mystery. We can't see the clown, of course, we just see vaguely his face there in the background, so I'm left speculating exactly what kind of monster this clown actually is. The clown itself is a cultural code which connotes fun and playfulness. After all, that's what a clown is for, entertainment. Yet, in recent times, it also hints at cruelty and fear, mostly thanks to the 1991 film, which the new poster takes nods from. The beckoning hand is another cultural code for welcome, yet also contains a semantic code implying a sinister underlying meaning. These days, in the 21st century, we tend to view clowns hesitantly as figures of horror rather than entertainment or child play, and this poster does that very nicely. We have a beckoning clown there in traditional French clown outfit, but the sinister face behind the balloon connotes a sinister, darker, more evil undertone to this particular film, which links it, of course, to the horror genre itself. Let's then take a look at the film Tenet. You can see one of the posters of the film there. Now have a think what codes those that actually uses. Why is the character carrying a gun? What does that say about him? Why is the second character on the right hand side wearing a face mask? What does that suggest? Is there anything on here that suggests sci-fi? How many details actually suggest that genre? What can you tell about the character's personality? What does his ethnicity tell you? Why has Christopher Nolan, the director, chosen this particular actor? What meanings are present? He's walking towards us, but what can we see in the background? What things do we associate with that background itself? Why is the film skewed, or the image skewed slightly? What does that tell you about the reality present in the film? Look at the font being used. Why is that font being chosen? Why that metallic blue colour? What meanings are there present in the way the title is actually presented? All of these then would suggest the kind of deep thinking that's gone into the poster. Of course, the starting point would be to spot the codes now appearing on the screen within this poster and be able to comment on them. Let's take a look at our key text now, the series Humans. You can see the first example is done for you. How the font suggests the sci-fi genre. I would also suggest then that the green pupils, the half-face design, and the white purity and blondness of the main character in the centre there also have connotations or meanings behind them that influence the design. As a media studies student, it's your job to give meaning to the images you choose to draw or design or take photographs of, to allow the audience then the chance to unpick the mystery or the puzzle pieces you present in the design that you're choosing. This intervention is also about then, if you have got a weak design where this is impossible to do, you've got no choice but to upgrade it and think a bit more carefully about the kind of image you want to present. Now let's think about your own design then, or if you're working in class, think about the person next to you and give them feedback on the design elements they're choosing. Discuss the design with them for around 2 minutes, looking at their concept. What can you see in their imagery? What can you see in terms of the font they're using or their layout design? Let them talk you through that design. Are they able to say the different codes that they're embedding into their image and what the meanings present are? How is it linked to the genre of their film? How are they showing or suggesting or designing elements of narrative, the disruption, enigma, or character types? Have they given their production company logo a particular prevalence and why? Where have they put their bidding block? What is their title? Are there any connotations of the title that they've chosen? The tagline, is it reminiscent to any other text? If it is, that's hyperreality, which is in the mark scheme for a grade B or better. Now use the discussion you've had with that person to inform an analysis of their design. Or if indeed you're doing it at home, please analyse your own design. Are you able to explain why you chose the imagery and representation that you chose to put onto that page or onto that screen? Thank you very much then for listening to this recap of codes, and put some thoughts into how you're using these codes in your design. After all, you are a media studies student, and so wanting to input the different theories and suggestions or high-level concept ideas into your design to show the examiner the deep level of planning and thought that's gone into your DVD, your website, and your theatrical poster. Thank you very much for listening, and all the best with continuing your designs.